Please, no! No!
Alf, brace yourself. We're going to compare One Piece to Pokemon card investing today. Everybody freak out.
I've always said it, guys, 10 years is a long time. So for the One Piece collectors and investors, I wish you the best of luck.
Because people are going to say, hey, these are not the same thing. And that is true. They're not the same IP. They're not the same thing. But you know what is the same is the money that's being spent. I'm spending it on One Piece now. I've been buying sealed Pokemon for about 18 months. But now I'm also spending on One Piece. And so I have to make decisions based on where I think that this money should go for sealed product. And today we're going to dive into One Piece. And right now, while many might think I'm FOMOing into One Piece as prices are rising, I actually feel like that's the best place for me to put my money right now when I'm looking at, can it go higher? And we're going to talk about exactly why I think that. So I come from the sports card side. Hello. So I feel like sports card guys are usually the ones that are always ruining, if you will, the other trading card sets or other collectibles, because they get in to flip these cards as well, or these other collectibles. I saw it happen with comic books. I saw it happen with Pokemon cards here over the last couple of years. Yes, while there are a lot of new just Pokemon card collectors and people putting money in on the Pokemon side, there's also a lot of sports card guys that got into Pokemon cards, buying sealed, buying singles, grading them out, all that stuff. And that is what has helped boost this up. Now, here we come to One Piece. Now, One Piece is something that is fairly new to me. So I know a lot of the old heads in One Piece are going to think like, oh my God, this is so awful. This guy doesn't know anything and he's buying into it. And you might be right.
So we decided to start collecting Beanie Babies. I think that's how it all started.
However, I've been doing some research. I've been looking at the single cards versus the sealed boxes. And that is what has prompted me to get into these sealed boxes. And what I mean by that is, I'm looking at some of the price points when I look at the set values and when I'm looking at kind of what are the big cards in the set. And again, a lot of people do this on the Pokemon card investing side too. They look at, okay, what are the big hits in the set? What are the SIRs? What are the big characters of the set? Which characters are driving that set? They make buying decisions or offer buying advice out to people based on that. Well, One Piece, even with me not knowing any of the characters, not knowing much about any of it at all, I can look at the sales of those top cards and it is shocking. I mean, ungraded, that's another thing. We're going to talk about grading in a couple minutes. The ungraded cards, the pulls, if you will, the big hits, the mangas. So really the mangas are the juicy ones out of a lot of these sets. But they go ungraded for $500, $1,000, $2,000, sometimes more than that. Sometimes $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 ungraded. Then you get into the PSA 10s, and we have seen $5,000, $10,000, I think up to even $20,000 here recently for some of the PSA 10s. And they have something like an 80 to 90% gem rate currently, which is wild. So there are folks that are making a truckload of money right now in One Piece that, of course, got way into this, and especially the ones that graded these cards out with PSA. Shout out to you guys.
For the One Piece collectors and investors, I wish you the best of luck.
Speaking of PSA, I do have an affiliate code with them, SCD25 code at the shipping and billing screen for $25 off your first PSA submission over there. Just a one card minimum to try out PSA, so make sure you get that discount. So now we look at grading these cards. And I can tell, I'm watching YouTubers that are talking about One Piece, collectors, people that have been buying the boxes, that have been opening the cards, maybe even some that play the game. And I can tell firsthand that they don't understand the impact of PSA grading on trading cards in general, because they're just like, it's not processing. They're like, and then there's a PSA 10, that's, and I don't know why you would buy a PSA 10, or I don't know why anyone would want a PSA 10. They just don't understand it. They clearly haven't graded cards before, and that's okay. That's not a judgment. But to me, that's like, oh, wow, there might be an opportunity in buying and grading the singles of these cards, because it seems like I might be a little bit ahead of the game. Now, to be fair, there's already people that are ahead of this. It's either Pokemon people or sports card people that saw this and were like, oh, shoot, like we got to grade these out. Somebody got ahead of this thing, because there are a lot of PSA 10s for these cards, and they're doing really well. So I would be late coming in the game now, but I don't think I'm too late. I don't necessarily have to be early. I just don't want to be too late. And I don't think I'm too late on One Piece. And so what I've been doing, I bought about 15 booster boxes of the various sets. I don't have any of the, I don't have the first set, OP1 or anything amazing like that, but I do have kind of picked a basket of sets. I'm also not paying as close attention when people say like, you know what? I'm not as big a fan of OP12. They'll say, it doesn't have a good manga. It doesn't have a good hit in it. But then I look again. I'll look at the single card sales for all of these, and I'm looking at the booster box prices, and it just doesn't add up to me. So like 12, for example, I believe that I just bought 5 booster boxes at something like $215 or $220 a box for OP12. And I've watched other, again, One Piece YouTubers, it's like, that set's trash. You want 5, you want OP5, or you want OP13, or you want the new one coming out with all the women in it with the boobs. You want that one, or you want, 1 or whatever. Or you want the first 3 sets because they might not reprint those. I'm not paying attention to any of that. I am going to assume that all of these sets, if the IP is strong, and again, just looking at the single card prices, it's not as if OP12 has just no cards in it, like that are selling well in the secondary market. It still has some strong cards in it, and that's considered a trash set in One Piece. So that's the reason why I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to buy a basket of different booster boxes, and I think that they're going to do fine, just especially in the next 12 months. I don't know what this IP is going to look like long term. A lot of Pokemon card investing bro YouTubers getting really worked up. Was it PokeNE? I think it might have been PokeNE that got really worked up. I think about, I'm trying to remember now the drama. This was kind of a fun one. PokeProfit. PokeNE making fun of PokeProfit for making I think he made a second channel on One Piece. Great channel, by the way, too. I watch it. It's called something like Straw Hat Speculator. It's a great one because I like watching PokeProfit Pokemon stuff, and I get pretty much the same thing on the One Piece side. So I get to see both of those, and it's like, okay, cool. He's going to have me up to speed on all of the One Piece stuff, just like he does on the Pokemon side. Great. Well, PokeNE got all worked up about that and made some sort of like Pokemon is king, One Piece is not, all that. And One Piece does not have to be Pokemon, guys. This is the thing I think is so funny. It's like, it doesn't have to be Pokemon. It doesn't have to, 25 years from now, there doesn't have to be, 8,000 different sets of One Piece. It doesn't have to compete with Pokemon. It just has to be popular in its own right, and understanding as well that currently, now maybe they reprint the hell out of it, currently the print runs on One Piece versus Pokemon, not even in the same galaxy. Again, I don't know the exact numbers, but I'm pretty sure that One Piece is not printing 10 billion cards a year. Pretty sure, I could be wrong. Now, granted, the demand for One Piece is not what it is for Pokemon. These are two very separate things, and I'm going to still buy Pokemon cards, but as it sits right this second, I am FOMOing a little bit into, if I don't buy these now, I think they're going to get more expensive. I could be wrong on this, and maybe they go back down in price, but if they go back down in price, I probably buy more of it. Again, it's just looking at what are the singles doing, and also the PSA graded singles. What are they doing? And then what are the box prices? Then what is Bandai doing on the reprint side? Are they going to reprint any of it? None of it? Some of it? All of it? Like, what's the story with that? We don't really know. But right as it sits right now, when you look at the demand for it, it's strong. There is limited supply for what the demand is. And the cards look great. That's the other part is like, well, what are the cards like? The cards look really damn good. I mean, the mangas, a lot of these chase cards, they're really cool looking. So it's not as if you're getting like, oh man, these are just trash cards, but they just happen to be popular. They're actually really cool cards. So right now, for me, it's One Piece, just taking a little break from Pokemon, gonna buy into some One Piece and just kind of load up on some positions there. Again, I'm not some whale. I'm not a Rudy from Alpha Investments. I'm not a PokeNE or a Nostalgianomics. But I'm going to have some of it. I'd like to have some exposure into it, and we'll see what happens. But again, I just think over the next 12 months at least, 12 to 18 months, I just want to buy some and see what happens. I just want to see what happens. The single prices of these cards are wild. And these new sets, it seems like people are excited about them. So let's see what happens here. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, my friends. Stay healthy, stay awesome, and I will talk to you again later.